result, right? Correct. So we've started recording. I'll continue from here, and then maybe we can go ahead, right? So yeah. So assignment operators we were I think here. So here we can very simply see that A into B whenever we write this statement, it simply means that A is multiplied by B and it is stored in A. Right. In the next sentence, you can simply see that we are dividing A by B and then storing it in A. Same we do for the next one. This is sort of taking the remainder. This is floor division and this is exponent. So here we're doing A to the power of B and storing it in A. Right. So this is how it will work. Right. So these are assignment operators. Do we have any queries here? Any queries or any problems of any sort? Okay, I'm glad this is clear to you because today the hands-on session that we will sort of have, I think you might require this. You don't necessarily have to, but I think you will use this. So be clear with these things. And Alka, do you have a query? You can turn your mic on or simply text. I think we're clear of queries. One more thing, if anyone wants to sort of keep your cameras on or want to just jump in and say anything in the middle, I'll appreciate it and I'll encourage it. So we can make this sort of an interactive session, right? Correct. So we'll move ahead. We just looked into how our assignment operators work. These are purely arithmetic and sort of storing values in from one variable to another based on operations that are conducted on them. Right. Now we will look into logical operators. So what do logical operators actually mean? They sort of bring conditions together, and you can club them based on certain let's say certain parameters, right? Once I complete logical operators, I will demonstrate both assignment and logical operators together on the code screen, right? So I'll just tell you how these work. So we are primarily looking at and, or, and not. You will be using them somewhere or the other, right? So and primarily means that when I say A and B both have to be true. Only and only then will this statement be true. So it means A and B. That means me and you, we both have to be present. Only then our team will be there, right? So this is sort of an example. Or means that if any one or both, that means at least one of A or B is true, then the statement is true. That means if I give the money or you give the money, the bill is paid, right? Any one of us does it, it's done. We do half of it's done, right? So it primarily means that if both are true, the statement is true. If even one is true, even then the statement is true. It will be false only and only if both of them are false. Correct. Not is simply it reverses the boolean value. That means if A is true, not of A becomes false. If B is true, not of B becomes false. But if A was false, not will become true. So it just converts false to true and true to false. Is this part clear as well?
Aryan, could you please repeat the not part?
Yes, please, sure. So, not actually means that we will be reversing the Boolean value. That means if it is a true, if the value inside the bracket, if it returns true, we shift it to false. If it's false, we shift it to true. Right. So you simply take not as the not equal to mark that we use the exclamation, treat it as that. We simply reverse the Boolean value.
Okay,
Is
thank
that does that clear the query? Yeah, perfect. Do we have like are we clear with this? Do we have any other queries?
Uh, yes, Aryan, I have a query. Just
Yes,
hear me out. So refresh out, please. Like, I assigned the value of A as 1, and in the second comment, I tried to put it like A plus is equal to 2. So value output was 3,
correct,
right? Because the plus 1 will happen.
correct,
Now, after this, what happened was that when I had put the same syntax with value of 3, like A plus is equal to 3, I'm getting an output of 5. So second value has been shifted from 3, right? From 2 to 3, right?
Your voice was breaking, but I think I understand what you mean. Yes, we discussed this in the first lecture itself. When this is sort of reassigning a value to a variable. So if I say a is equal to 1, and in the next line I say a is equal to 3, and when I print a, it would show me 3 because in the latest edit I've changed it. What if I correctly understand? You sort of added 1 and then you added 3. So that changed the value. Just give me 1 second. I'll demonstrate that on the code as well, in the code screen as well.
Sure.
Sure. Are there any other queries? I think not, Solvi. I think we can move forward to the code part.
Right.
Yeah. So I am assuming my code is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So let us say A is equal to true, B is equal to false, right? Correct. So see, Aniket, this is what I was saying, that when I put say A is equal to 10, here A was 10. When I Alka, do you have a query? You raised your hand. I think we can continue. Yeah. So we did put A as 10 and B as 10. And let me just demonstrate something here. We had a line to code. Yeah. Yes. So here A is 10, B is 10. If I print A, I will see 10. Right. Now, once I run this line and I again put in print A, I would see that now A's value would be updated to true. Right. So that is how variables values are updated. Correct. Now we'll just look into things. So let's say I print A and B. So what do you think should be the output? Anyone can just turn their mics on or put in the chat.
Sir, it will come false.
Correct. Because in AND, both have to be true, right? So we have a false coming out here. Now let us try to do the same with OR, right? So let us simply say A or B. Now what should be the answer?
True value.
Sir, true.
Correct. So we are having a true here. Right now, if I say print not of A, yeah. So does this make sense to everyone? Wonderful. A lot of you are correct. Wonderful. Alka, I don't understand the query you have with variable value. You can turn your mic on and sort of explain me the problem, or you can type it sort of in detail in the chat. Correct. I'll move ahead. Alka, you can sort of type a query there.
Adin, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Please.
Please.
So in this example, you took A as true and B as false. If you had taken
Correct.
something else, let's suppose you had taken A as 5 and B as 10, and we had run this print not A, then what would be the answer for that?
See, actually, how it works is that when I sort of convert a value to Boolean, a zero value sort of turns out to be negative, and a numeric value comes to be positive. So if I just show it to you here, you'll be able to see that it is logically ANDing. Right. This is sort of the logical ANDing of integers, and this I think this is something that has to be considered in a future lecture, because I think people will have a little problem understanding everything as Boolean right now. I think I'll be tackling this problem as well as there are a lot of other things. So even in the assignment operators, we had logical AND and everything. I think I've mentioned. Yeah. So we have logical AND and bitwise shift and everything. But that is something that I think should wait for a future session. If that's all right. You can sort of, I'll put a WhatsApp group link. You can sort of send me a message and we can discuss the problem in detail. Like discuss why this happens. Will that be fine?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So here we are, right? So Alga, I'm still not clear with your query. If you could type it later, type in, or if your query is solved, just send it solved in the chat. Right. So this is how our logical operators work. Right. And you can very clearly see how they change value, how they do this. Correct. Now let me just tell you how we can use this in a sort of more productive way. Right. So let's say I put A is equal to 20. B is equal to 30, C is equal to 40, D is equal to 100. Right. So what this means, I have put four variables with four numbers. Right. Now let us say I want print A greater than B. So what should be the answer here?
So 50?
No, this is a comparison here. So it would only be true if A is greater than B. Correct. Correct. I can see a couple of answers there. Wonderful. So this would give us a false. Right. Now what if I wanted to find out if A was greater than B and A was greater than C? Right. We understand that the answer will be false here. But do you understand how we are using two conditions together? Is this part clear to people? Yeah, wonderful. So let me just shift things a little. Now, will this be true or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we will have and here. Now let me do this. Let me make it 400. Let's now understand. Right. So now it becomes false because it's an and condition. Now what if I put the same thing here with an or? Now what should be the answer?
True.
Right, you're right. So that happens because A is greater than B, and that is all we require. Right, we need only one of these two to be true, and that is why it's true. Here we required both of these to be true. That is why we failed. Right, is this part clear to everyone? This is sort of how we have multiple conditionals together, and this is very useful when you look at problems where you have to say, if I want to find the greatest among three numbers. Right, let me just quote that here. We would require if. So I think after the next slide I'll do that. But primarily what we do is when we say now I've written A is greater than B and A is greater than C and I say A is greater than D. Right. So if this statement comes out to be true, would that mean that A is the greatest number of them all? Right. So this is how we actually find out. So right now I can see it's false and it's very clearly false. But if I make this say 2000, then this would be true. And that would mean that A is the biggest number of them all. Now, when we look in the next step, when we look at conditions, then we will understand, when we look at if and everything, if else, the conditionals, then we will understand how we can use them to sort of just not only print true, but print that A is the largest number, or do anything else in that particular, when that particular condition is met. Right. So are these two things clear to everyone? Logical operators and assignment operators. Assignment operators also, let me give you a couple of examples. Right. So now let's make A equals to 5. Right. Okay. Let's look at, we have 22 people here. So A is equal to 22. Right. Now let me say that two people have left the meeting. So I simply write A minus equals to 2. Right. So now when I print A, what should be the value? Should it be 22?
20. No, 20.
Or should it be 22 minus 2? 20. Correct. So here again, Aniket, we've again come to sort of your query, and here we can see how we've subtracted and how the value of A is changed. Right. Now I say that the next week my crowd has doubled. Right. So I simply do this. And now when I print A, what should be my answer?
40.
40.
Perfect. Perfect. Well done. So you can see that we do not take the original value of A now. Now we take the newer value of A. Right. This is something that we need to be very, very clear with. We do not, because if I'll be honest, if any one of you has Python in your academics or in your quiz, this is sort of a very good theory question where they give you a line, where they give you sort of a pseudo code or many lines of code, and they ask you what would be the value of X at the end. And if you keep sticking to the original value, your answer will be wrong. You need to constantly update your current value of X, right? So this is how you do it. Now, say I want to I want to say that in the next time it became a third, right? In the next meeting, the crowd that I got, it has become 1/3. So what do I do? Anyone can tell me in the chat. Oh, we have a query. Just give me 1 second. I understand the query. Just give me 1 second. Once we're done with demonstration, I will repeat. You want me to repeat the entire arithmetic operators part?
I mean, I think he meant by the question.
Oh, the question. Oh, perfect. So, what I wanted to say was that now my crowd has become 1/3. So, how do I write that?
Divide is equal to 3.
Okay, just dictate it to me. A is equal to, then what do I do? I write A, then what do I do?
Okay.
Okay, let me take over this one. So I put the division symbol, I put the E equal to, and because it became 1/3, so I want to divide A by 3, right? So that is what I do. Okay, Priyam, you are also right. That is the correct thing. So what she is suggesting is that I do this equal to 1/3. That is what she wrote it in a decimal form, but yeah. So both of them will give me the same result, and I'll show that to you. Yeah. So here you can see what A value would become, right? And it would become say 4.444. So now when I again do 1/3, this would give me I think around 1.5ish, right? And here we'll see. Right. So you can see that these both are the same thing. It is simply saying that A divided by 2 is equal to A half of A, right? So there are just other ways to write the same thing, right? Correct. So this is how assignment operators work. Let me tell you. I think somebody had a query on how this works. Yeah. So what assignment operators mean is that when I say A is equal to A plus B, it is simply putting A plus B's value into A. The shorter way of writing it is this: A plus equals to B. I think there was somebody, TN Tarson. Yeah, TN Tarson, is your doubt cleared? If it is, then we'll move forward.
Aryan sir,
Yes.
will you please explain last three operators, assignment operators, because I have doubt many times in that.
Correct, I will do that. So let us say this, that I have A is equal to 200, right, and I have B equals to 3. So my remainder, I want to find the remainder when I divide 200 by 3. So one way I could do this is that I simply say print C, and I say name a variable named C. C is equal to A percentage B, right? So it would give me the remainder, and I'll show it to you. Give the remainder 2. Now one other way I could do is that I could simply update the value of A by writing A percentage equals to B, and then I could print A, right? This again would give me 2. So now 2's values become this. So this is remainder. What was the next one? Floor division, right? So now let us say let's say A is again A equal to 300, B is equal to 55, right? So floor division primarily means that if I say A floor division B, which is equivalent to me writing A equals to A floor division B. Floor division means that how many of B can I fit under A completely, right? So now when I print A, I'll be able to see that the answer is 5, right? Because 5 times 55, that comes to be 275, which is 6 times 55, that is more than 300. That is why we cannot use it. So this is the highest multiple of B that is less than or equal to A, right? So this is floor division. Is this clear to everyone? I think many people have a confusion, particularly with floor division. Is this part clear to you?
Float divisions
everyone?
gives us only integer value, isn't it?
Yes, it because it cannot give a decimal value. How can the maximum multiple be a decimal, right? How many, like if I had a box of 5 chocolates and I had a complete bucket that could have 100 chocolates, I can only put 20 boxes, right? And I won't open a half box. That is how it actually works.
Okay, sir.
Correct. And I think Priyam has put in the quotient method. That is also a very good way to understand it. Is simply when I divide A by B and I remove the decimal part. Right? I just put right, which is the last one. Yeah, exponent. So let's say A is equal to 2, B is equal to 3. And now I make A equals to exponent equal to B. So what 2 asterisk means is that raised to. So now what the answer will the answer that I will get, it will be 2 raised to the power 3, which would be of course 8, right? So you'll be able to see it. Yeah, so 8. So are these 3 operators clear to everyone? Are in general all operators and logical operators clear to everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
would be wonderful. Perfect. Perfect. So let us sort of move ahead. Right now we look at identity operators. Right, it is very similar to you putting equal to or not equal to. Right, I'll just show you how this works. So if I say print, let me just redefine A and B as well. Sorry. Yeah, let's print A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, right? And if I print A is B. So is simply means that, of course, it simply is, right? So is A B? 10 is not 20, so we get a false. If I say 10 is, if 10 is 10, we'll get a true. If I say Aryan and if I say, right? So is Aryan equal to Kapoor? Oh, I'm so sorry. Just check. Yeah. Right. So is Aryan equal to Kapoor? False. But if I say right Aryan here, okay, it will be a true. Right. And if I put a small a here, it would simply be false because as I explained in the last session as well, these are case sensitive. They take values of capital alphabets and small alphabets differently. And the last time we discussed ASCII value as well. And that is how we cleared this up. Actually, what I'll do is at the end of the session, I'll put a link for the previous classes YouTube videos and also the complete PDF document. Right, anyone who goes through them will have a very clear idea of what we're doing, and it will be helpful for the next session as well. And even today's PPT and video will be uploaded today itself and sent on the WhatsApp group. That link also I'll share in the end. Right. So this is how is works, and now let us look at is not. So is not is nothing but very simply is Aryan is not Aryan, right? That is the sentence. I will come to be I will have to have the false. But if I say Aryan is not Kapoor, it will be true, right? Is everyone clear with is and is not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, T and Hassan, actually is not, this comes to be false because both the values are same, and here we are looking at is not, so they should not be the same, right? If it was is here, only is here, we would have gotten a true. Wonderful. Perfect. So we have our identity operators again. A is B. If A is equal to B, then the statement is true. Is not B is if A is not equal to B, then the statement is true. Right? We have understood and we've looked into sort of how they work. Now we look at the precedence. Look at the precedence of Python operators. This means that if you have multiple operators, as we did with and we had a lot of operators there, what priority does the system have to execute them? Right? So if everyone in maths you have the BODMAS rule, right, in which you understand that in which sequence will these functions be executed to calculate the final value. Same goes for Python operators. So here you can see on the top is the highest priority, and in the bottom it's the lowest priority. This is a table that is for reference. I will of course be sending the PPT. You can you need, but this is something that you need to keep in mind, especially for theoretical questions, quizzes, and sort of short questions that you might go through in academics or in interviews or in say placement tests and everything. it does become a little important there, but for coding purposes, it won't bother you a lot, right? Correct. So we can just look at the exponential, the raised to the power has the highest priority, and not or and logical operators. The logical operators that we use to combine these conditions, they have the lowest priority, right? So this simply means that first the individual conditions work. So if I say A is greater than 10 and B is greater than 10, then first A is greater than 10 is checked, then B is greater than 10 is checked, then AND is checked, right? So first the parts are checked. Even in the parts, the operators are checked based on the precedence that we have, and then we sort of combine. Yes, I will. So I have gone through a lot of these. These are the same operators that we used a couple of minutes ago on the code. I will just show you how the sort of precedence would work. I think I'll be able to demonstrate a little bit. Yeah. So if I say that, let's say, I'll just show you how this works. Yeah. So let me add a new line of code. Yeah. Let me say my A, wonderful. A is equal to 10, right? And my B is equal to 20, and C is equal to ABC, ABS, yeah, ABC, yeah, and I'll make this a string, correct? So now if I say print A greater than B or B greater than C, you'll be able to see. Let me make this an error. Let me not write anything. This is a normal text I've written, but this is not under colon, so this should be an error. But once I run this, you'll be able to, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you'll be able to see that this is not supported between instances of string and int. So you can see that this comparison was carried out, then this comparison was carried out, then they become all. Otherwise, what would have happened is that as soon as this became true, we would have gotten our result. But as you can see, the parts are carried out before they are combined, right? So this is sort of an example of what I was trying to explain. This is a precedence. So you won't be actually required to use this a lot while coding, but you would be requiring this, say, in an interview or placement exam or something. Right? Is this part clear to everyone? Anyone? Okay, wonderful. Right. So we have looked at how basically the precedence and functions work in arithmetic operators work. Now we will look into conditional statements. So we have compared values. We know what is true, what is false. But how do we actually do something about it? What if I want to say find out the even numbers in all the even numbers between 1 and 1000? So do I manually do that? Do I check every time? What do I do? Right, so you find the condition, you know which is true, which is false, but how do you find all of them? Right, how do you put the condition there? Correct. So I'll just show you how these conditions work. So this is an example. I'll code and show you as well. But here you can see A is 10, B is 20. If A is greater than B, print A is greater than B. If B is greater than A, then print B is greater than A. But of course, if two numbers are greater or smaller than each other, they are equal. So we have put an else. Elif means else if. There is just a shorter way of writing else if. Right, I'll just show you the code. Let's say A is equal to 20, B is equal to 30, 30. Okay. Let me try to say if. That is how you write. It's simply if. You put a bracket. You put your condition A is greater than B. You put a colon, the two dots, and you press on enter. It will automatically give you a little space here. This will happen when you create functions. This will happen when you create conditionals. This will happen when you create loops, etc., etc., etc. Right? So you can see it very clearly. If A is greater than B, then I write print A is greater than B. Right? So here, of course, that is not true. So we are going to have nothing here. Right? So this does not give me an answer. This just does not give me the wrong answer. So what do? I can write another condition, but that won't be true. But that would have a problem. Say if both are true, then both will be printed. So what I do is I write elif. Elif means that else, if that is not true, then check this. So I say elif B is greater than A. And again, I put a colon. Again, you can see the space is created automatically. I say print B is greater than A. Sorry for these sparks coming out. Let me just turn them off for a second. I don't remember from where I did this. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, no problem. Perfect. And yeah, so I don't think this should trouble us now. Yeah, so here you can see now it will tell me if b is greater than a. But if I had both the values same, that is 20, what would I have gotten? No response because a is not greater than b because they're equal. B is not greater than a because they're equal. So what do? I write an else. So what else does is everything apart from if and elif. If anything else occurs, we go for an else. You can again see the colon, the space that comes automatically, and I say a, so sorry, a is equal to b, and here when I run, you can say a is equal to b. Right. So this is how conditionals work. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Wonderful.
Arvind.
Perfect. Perfect. Now we will look into say nested conditionals. So this is fairly simple. You can understand this. But what if I want to do that if a is greater than b? Let me define another number. C is equal to 340. Okay. So this becomes 20, 30, 40. And if I say if a is equal greater than b, and inside it I want to say if b is greater than c, print a is the greatest. Right? So what does this mean? That a is bigger than b and b is bigger than c. Then print a is the greatest. Right? Then you write else is a greater than c. Well, do it that cannot be the case, but there could be say else you don't try to have to write an else because if this is not true, move to the next condition. Then you can say put some other condition if b is greater than a, and yeah. So I'm sorry, not if, we write elif, right? So because we are see, every indentation matters a lot. So you can see this line. This line is where the outer if and elif is working. This is the line where the inner if is working, right? Is this clear to everyone? How nested conditions would work? If it's clear now, it will help you a lot when we go to nested loops.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Correct. The space on the left, it is called an indent. Indentation is essential and very important in Python. That is how we sort of define which condition, which words and which instruction is for which condition, right? If I say put in random lines here, I would get an error saying unexpected indent because this does not match anything outside, right? So this is not allowed. If I did this, this would still be allowed. This would still be allowed. This would still be allowed. But a wrong conditional will not be tolerated here. That is how Python works, right? So if conditionals are good, then we can sort of move to like the multiple conditions, right? So what do multiple conditions work with? Simply the ones that we explored previously, and right, as you can see, a is greater than b, a is greater than c, a is the largest. So I'll just show that to you as well. So we have written the three values here. Now if I say, right, let me simply copy this one, let me paste it here and let us edit this code so we can understand this. So I say a is greater than b, and if a is greater than c, then a is bigger than the both is bigger than both the numbers, right? So we can say a is the greatest. So I'll just start a row there. Yeah. Then we say elif b is greater than a and b is greater than c. Then I say b is the greatest, right? And we cannot simply go to else, we simply go to elif c is greater than a and c is greater than b. And say print c is greater than sorry, c is the greatest. The greatest, right? And here in the else we can say that some numbers are equal to each other. I'll show you the condition. Actually, the problem with this piece of code is primarily that whenever my code will see, let's say I have write A is 20, B is 5, and C is 5. Now I can very simply see how this works, and you can also, I think, you'll be able to see, and we will find out our answer that A is the greatest because we compared both of them separately, right? This is what we did here as well. But if say I had 20 and 20, this would give me the else condition, which is, though it is not desirable, we just said all numbers equal. We'll put a result here. Yeah, all numbers equal. So here we'll be able to see that the values are equal. That is why we have the problem here that it says all numbers are equal. So there is no greatest number, right? So this is sort of the negative response. So if, for example, I as a person want to know the greatest number out of these three, if all of them are same, then any number is the greatest, but the system, according to the system, none is the greatest, right? If everyone is say if everyone has an equal amount of money, then nobody is rich or poor, right? So that is how this would also work. So is multiple conditions clear to everyone? Wonderful. Now we'll just look into loops very briefly and then move to sort of a hands-on time, and we'll very briefly look into loops and how they actually work. So what you do is, say you can work with conditionals, right? I'll just write a small conditional here. I say I make let's say I make I equal to 10, right? This is just a variable, and of course it doesn't matter to me what the variable's value is, right? And if I say if I %2 is equal to 0, that means any even number has to be a multiple of 2, right? So any even number, when you divide it by 2, the remainder will always be 0. So this would be a test of telling me that print I I is an even number, right? So when I do this, I will see that, oh, I'm so sorry, it has to be double equal to, right? See, I made a mistake. So a conditional, we need to have double equal, right? Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, so we can see that 10 is an even number, right? Now, if I want to say check for 12 or 11, what do? I change the value and do it again. Loops, now if I want to look at values elsewhere, like if I want to look at all values from 1 to 100, will I name so many variables and write so many if codes, and I'll just write an else as well. So I will not do that. I will look into loops, right? And I will just show you how loops will work. Not even, right? So I can see that 11 is not even. Yeah, so here we look at loops. So how do loops work? So there are primarily two kinds of loops. We're looking into three, but I'll show you how 3 and 2 are the same. Loop, for loop actually means that every item in a range will be gone to once, and the I variable for I in range, that means that every value in that range will be put into I, and then a code will be executed. Then in the next cycle, we will see that the I takes the next value, then the next value, the next value, till it goes to ending -1. So this is something that we've been going through in the first lecture. Whenever a range is given in Python, it goes from starting to ending -1. So this bracket 0 would be considered, but 10 will not. 9 will be considered, right? I'll show that to you here. I've taken the code. I already wrote it here before copying to the slide. Let me show you the for. Yeah. So for I in range 0 to 10, print cycle number I. So I can see that cycle 0, 1, 2, 3. So I is now becoming 0, then it became 1, then it became 2, dot, till ending -1, till 9. Right? Now so this is how for would work. While works as long as a condition is true. Right? So if I simply write while I is less than 10, so now I is less than 10 would give me a false or true if I normally print. So it will do the same thing. And if I is 0 here, so I say I is 0, while checks it, it's true, we go to the code, we do it, we plus 1 to I. Then the next time I becomes 1, continues to go true, it runs. It does that till 8, right? 8 true, done. 9 true, done. But once it prints cycle 9, then it adds 1, then it becomes equal to 10, which is not less than 10, right? That is why it breaks there and we cannot see anything. Right now, this is how a while loop works. A do while, what it does is it puts the condition true directly in the while. That means that the condition is always true, but once we reach the specific value, we break. So what does that mean? We break from the code and move up. In the next slide, we will look at these sort of break, continue, and pass. We will look into these in the next slide. But these are how the functions work. We do not have do and while here as we do in sort of Python source language C++, but we actually put a condition here and break, and this is how we perform do while. Right? So this is how do while would work for us, and it gives the same result. Right? We put the condition on top, or we put a break here. Right now, let us go to the next slide. Right? So these are loops. You don't have to be exceptionally clear with loops. We will not be using them today. We will be going through them in detail in the next session. But yeah, we just wanted to introduce them to everyone so that everyone could have a touch, sort of understand and have a touch of how loops work. Right now, we look into the loop control statements. As you can see in the last code, I used break. So what break does is that it simply ends the loop right there, and it moves to the immediately next statement. Right? Continue, what it does is that it moves ahead without, like, before that value, it continues to the next. Right? Pass is when you have to create an empty function, but you do that so that it is syntactically correct, but it simply passes to the next line of code. I have the examples here as well. So if I give you an example here, you can see for I in this, if I becomes H or I becomes P, I continue. So what it does is it skips that iteration, it moves to the next one. Right? So it did not, once I do continue, it did not go to the next line of code, it simply moved to the next iteration. So first I became H, and then I went to the condition, it said continue, so I moved, I became E. Then it did not go into the if, then it printed. Right? It kept on happening till I reached small p here. Right? And then it again gave me a container. So I can see LO by PEOLE. Right? The P is kept. What the break would do, as soon as it reached an E, like the condition is a little changed, E. So as soon as it reaches E, it breaks the loop. So now next value won't be reached, the entire loop will be done and we move ahead. Right? So here you can very simply see that I becomes H, then it becomes E, then it breaks. So that is it. We can see only the first character before, all the characters before E. Right? That's only one. In the pass, you can simply see that for I in this, it simply ran through everything and it sort of passed to do the next line, the value to the next line. So you can see that the I here, it prints E. So I now as a variable will have E. Here, if I did that, it wouldn't have given me this result because only in the loop I was changing. Here, I's value is passed outside as well. Right? So these are how control statements work. Is this clear to everyone? Is this clear how control statements would actually work?
Sir, will you explain the pass statement again?
Agreed. Yeah, sure. So a pass is a bit confusing, but we very rarely use it. But what we actually do is that we go through the code. We do not do anything. We simply make I a global variable. So actually, what happens is, if I did the same thing here, let's say I print I here, this would not have given me the result, same result, because I is actually not a variable outside the loop, right? But here, let's just what am I is done. So let me just repeat this. Say make this RT. So see, let me just pass. Yeah, so what we simply do with pass is that it simply passes through the code, it executes everything, it goes I becomes H till H I becomes E, and it executes everything, but it does not do anything. So if I write anything else here, I would have to go for an output, right? But here what I'm doing is I'm only executing, I'm just moving ahead, I'm not doing anything, I'm just passing through the loop. So consider it that the loop will iterate through values have zero code. Pass is a null code and it moves out of the loop. Is pass clear? You don't have to stress a lot on pass. You won't be using it a lot, but it's a control statement that everyone needs to know. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Priyam, we haven't given the print command here, right? And pass actually is used so that we do not give any commands, so that it is syntactically correct, but we do not actually execute or change some code. That is why we're using pass here. That is why it doesn't print all characters. If I remove pass, if I say print I here, it will print all the characters, right? So these are the control statements for everything.
Aryan?
Now we will. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
Yes.
we move to the where you print all the give all the commands. Can you move to switch here? So it says here in the example pass example, it says hello bye people. So so E is printed in the next line. It says character E. So
Correct.
it has taken character E because in people the last letter is E. Had it been something else, it would have printed something else, like whatever the value would have been. That's why it's L. So yeah.
Correct.
Thank you.
Perfect. So we have the control statements here. Now we will actually get to work. We'll build a calculator, right? I will give you a basic way, like a basic starting point. I will do that to you. I will show you how it works. Then we will look into actually having it built. We have around 20 minutes. I think within 10 minutes we should be done, and we might even have time for one more hands-on activity, right? So let us look into a calculator. Let us say, let me just sort of, yeah. So we have only this on the screen. Yeah. So let us say I put num1 as my first number, and I say take an input with it. I'm assuming other people also will do it with me. I would appreciate that, but you can look into this and understand. Enter number 1. You can do the same thing here for number 2, right? So you take both the inputs, and then I want you to first so some numbers. Number 1 and I put number 2. Okay. And yeah. So I've put in number 1 and number 2. Now I want everyone to sort of create a calculator that can add, subtract, multiply, divide, find the remainder. Right? These are the 5 things that you need to do. And because I've taken the 2 numbers as input, I also want to understand what operation the user wants. So we will do this in 2 phases. First one would be that you will find all of these values and print in a line that sum of 1 and 2 is this, subtraction of 1 and 2 is this, multiplication is this, division is this, the remainder is this, right? The second part of this, once you do this, I'll just tell for the people that will complete this, what you will do, you will also accept an input saying operator, and this would only be an input. You can say, type here that enter 1. So we make this also an integer, and we ask them to say enter 1, 2 to add, 2 to subtract, and 3 to dot, and then you simply create an if condition where you will say that if operator is equal to 1, then print addition or subtraction or division, right? This is something that I want everyone to do. Is the problem clear to everyone? Is the question clear to everyone? Let us do, like, Aniket, I understand the problem. I would appreciate if everyone does this right now and tries to do it very well and does it properly, and so that I can go and I can go through it and sort of understand if you guys have understood. If we still have time, we can look for another hands-on project or sort of a homework project, but let us do this. So is this clear to everyone? Like make sure you put an if condition and you also put an else that invalid operator or something. So that is the calculator that I want everyone to build. So let us begin, and the first one to do this properly would be the top performer, or if like even if you're a little late but you do it very well, it works. You've raised your hand, Aniket. You can turn your mic on.
Yeah, I placed my question in the chats. Could you just answer that as well?
Yeah, I did. So you might have already done this calculator. I would like to try you to do it again. But if you don't want to, you can wait. We will discuss another problem once this is wrapped up.
All right, all right.
All right. So everyone must start, and I will sort of randomly call out a few names. I think from 10 minutes from now, 10 to 15 minutes. Right. So all the best to everyone. Just start doing this, and I would love to see a top performer here. Right. If anyone has any queries, I am here. You can ask them.
So, as you said, to do all these operations, means add, subtract,
Correct.
multiply, and divide. So,
Yeah.
I am doing it in a way like as you have done here, that num1 is equal to enter a number, and num2 is
Hmm.
enter the second number. Then I have done
Hmm.
is that I have taken a third number, which is equal to num1 plus num2, and then I have printed that. Will that suffice? Or will that be okay?
Your voice like broke in between. Could you
Yeah, as a
repeat once?
basic calculator, I think that will be sufficient because see, right now we're just having five, I think four operators, right? Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So I think your function right now would be working.
Ronak, you can share your screen and show it to me. Like, before you
Uh,
access once.
yeah, just a second.
Yeah.
Uh, Sir, I have done this. Are you able to see my screen?
Mm, yeah. Now I can. Yeah.
So here just I have done that. I have taken first I have entered the number one, means taken
Hmm.
one number, then the num2, and then I have added the both and stored it in a new variable, means num3. Then
Hmm.
I have printed. Will this be okay, or I will have to do in?
This is okay, but let us say that you will have to put an input every single time, right? So what you
Yeah,
should
yeah.
do is instead of one to add, you can simply add like where you've written enter one to add, you write enter one to add, enter two to subtract, enter three to divide, and three to multiply, four to divide, five to find remainder, whatever, and then put a if condition that if this operator is equal to one, then add. If it's two, then subtract, right?
Okay.
Try it out once within if it'll be more optimized and it is actually the goal of this exercise.
Okay, sir. Sir, should I stop sharing?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sir.
Aryan, you mentioned about a WhatsApp group that you've created over here. I don't
Yeah,
have the link for it, so could you
yeah,
just
I'll send
help
the link
me with that?
in a couple of minutes. I'll send the links and everything.
Definitely.
Priyam, would you want to share your screen and show me where the syntax error is coming so I can just guide you how to resolve
Yeah,
it?
basically I want to create a variable called results,
Hmm.
and I'm not able to declare it. Like I'll
Share the
present
screen
my
once.
screen. Yeah.
Yes, please. And I've put the link to the WhatsApp group and a feedback form. I would appreciate if everyone would fill it.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, it's loading.
Basically, I want
Yeah.
to do this, like a result
So
of
you want
type
to
int.
in Python, you don't have to declare them in this manner. I think you were there in the last session. So you simply remove the int part
Hmm.
and make result equal to 0.
Okay.
Now you can
Okay,
do it.
so that will take as integer data type.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we put in
Okay.
0, so it automatically sort of decides the data type.
Okay.
Right, it's working now.
And so if I do 2, and result is 20. 2 is for multiplication.
Nice. Nice. Great. This is nice. I had to mention one more thing. This is the if based method. I also want you to sort of add two things. One, I want you to add an else here, saying that if anyone enters say 7, you need to give him an
Okay.
invalid
Out of
operator, right?
operation. Operate.
Yeah,
Okay.
anything. And one more thing I want, this is correct. Now, all you have to do is sort of copy the lines there, create another cell in which you're taking two inputs and printing all of these 5 in a row, right? Do that. And if anyone
Okay.
else is also done, they can share their screen.
Okay. I'll do that and show you.
Yes, please. If anyone else is done, they can share their screens.
क्या बोल रही है?
Anyone done? If anyone has any queries, they can sort of put that in the chat. Because we have 5 minutes sort of to end the session, and before that, I'd like to discuss sort of an home assignment-ish thing. I think one thing that before everyone leaves, can we just turn on our cameras and sort of take a picture? Because I think I should have the habit of doing this in the beginning because many people leave before the assignment, so it's difficult for the picture. But everyone just turn on the cameras once. Appreciate that. Others too, please, if you could just turn on your cameras. Others, if you'd like. Those who didn't attend the last two lectures, don't worry. After we have this picture, I will sort of send the link to the lecture for the last time and also the video and the PPT as well. Like if any, like everyone just turns the pictures on, the cameras on, so I can take a small picture. Others too, please. Clearly not. But anything. If others want to like turn on their cameras, I would appreciate that. Otherwise, it's fine. Just take a picture as is. Okay, I can see a few faces. Others, Nikhil, Tarun, Rizwana, Rinki, Sovanjan, Avishkar, Pooja, Ronak. Any? Like others? Would you like to? Anything? That's fine. I just use my picture. Oh, yeah. Hi. Correct. So I did take a picture and put that on the group as well. So those of you who haven't joined the group, they can join in. I've put the link in the chat. I've also put the link to a feedback. Recorded PPT, PDF, like everything in WhatsApp or here. I will be sharing everything on WhatsApp. I have all the links there. Let me just share it before we end the session so everyone sort of can confirm. Correct. So this is the link to the GitHub repository where I've sort of put all the PDFs and everything in a folder. And also there's a YouTube link that sort of leads to the first lecture that we took. But in that sort of it's a link to the playlist. So we have both the lectures there, 1 and 2, and I will add the lecture 3 to this as well. Right. So you guys can then go through all of them in a sequence. Right. So, does anyone want to show their work to become the top performer this week? Yes.
I again have a syntax issue. I'll present my screen.
Sure.
Yeah, if I'm doing this, I don't know what should I put to make this error go.
In else you don't put any argument. Remove the bracket. Else there is no bracket. It's simply the colon and enter. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you should be good to go now.
Okay. Fine. I was stuck at this.
Correct.
Okay.
Sure. We'll take an extra 3 to 4 minutes if anyone wants to present. Otherwise, we'll end this meeting. There is a small homework assignment that I wanted everyone to try out. Let me just build a small text document and send it across to everyone that all of you can sort of look into it. So I'm ready to see anyone's sort of take on the calculator. If anyone would like to share this screen and show it to me. I think a couple of people are disconnected and connected again. Does like any one of you have like or any one of you done with the calculator task? Let me name a few. Ronak,
Yes, sir.
what is the status now? Like what are like are you have you done it? Are you still doing
Lot
it?
of error.
I'm sorry.
Lot of error.
You can share your screen. You shouldn't have been waiting. You should simply share your screen and show me so that I can help
The
you.
thing is, I will have to go through the loops once again and clear the things out again.
I don't think you need to use loops in this assignment. That's fine. We can sort of in the next class. The first thing that we'll do is go through this calculator and the home assignment that I'll send on the WhatsApp group. Everyone join the WhatsApp group. You'll be able to see everything there, right? And also fill the feedback form. So let me see. Achintya,
Yes, sir.
what is your status? Have you made the calculator?
No, sir. I'm working on it now.
Okay, good, good. Aniket,
Yeah,
what is your status?
I
Have
can
you?
show you the video right now because I'm logged in through my phone. My Mac was just discharged. I
Try
thought
to join in from your computer once.
give me 2 minutes.
Sure. Nikhil, Tejas, Pooja, what is the status of the calculator? Have you been building it?
So Aryan,
Yes. Like a little bit of echo, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So should I share my screen?
Sure.
So this is my screen right now. So earlier what I did was I created.
I can't see your screen. Yeah, now it is.
Is
Okay.
it visible?
Yeah.
So what I did was I added two variables, that was value 1, value 2 over here with an input integer, and I had them enter first number and second number, wherein I put formulas in every variable like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and even remainder. And as you told us about the operator, I added an integer output, and that I used if else statement operator. Sorry, loop, not statement.
You
So
used in okay,
yes.
Correct.
So if when
Yeah.
it's like I add the first number, that's say 12, and second number say 12 again. I just add them. Now it's asking me to add, subtract, multiply, divide, or give me a remainder for it. So I can do is I can have a remainder. So like for a remainder, I'll get the value of 0.
Correct. Correct. So this is correct. There's one thing that you could have done was it because you're calculating everything beforehand. Even if I don't want you to add, you are adding it, right? So that
Yeah.
makes it a little bit unoptimized, but you've done it correctly. But there's one thing that again, one more thing that was required. That was to print all these five. Had another line of another set of code in which you do not ask the operator. You take only the two values and print all of these five in a row. I think you
All
have
right.
the code for it. Just keep it ready. I think Priyam is also on the same level. Let's see which of you figured it out first.
Understood.
Right, you do it. I think Priyam has completed it. Priyam, would you like to share your screen? Aniket, you can turn off your screen share. Yeah. Priyam can share her screen. Yeah, perfect. Right, so show me both
Yeah,
the
so
parts.
currently I have entered 6 for all operations. That is my input.
Okay.
I put it like so.
Great.
But I
So
wanted
you
to know
put
one
six
more
in.
thing, like I
Sure.
could not declare all of these variables at a time. Like if I did add, comma, sub, and all these things equal to 0. For example, I was trying this,
It's not possible like
but
that.
this was not working. Okay.
Not possible.
Actually,
So I have to
you
declare
can
it
do
line by
multiple.
line.
No, you can declare it in that manner, but then you sort of do the same on the right side as well. So you can do this. This is not wrong, but it doesn't. It is not something that is recommended, and it doesn't generally work as well, right?
Okay.
Even in like other languages do support this very well, but we do not, because this actually the when you do this, the system expects you to sort of iterate. So if I had put say 0, 0, it would have worked. Like, does
Okay.
that make sense? So
For example, so if I write add and
add comma sum comma,
okay.
then
Yeah,
you
for example,
write
these
equal to
two.
0, 0, it would work.
Okay. So this will
Yeah.
initialize both of these at the same time.
Yeah, so it sort of iterates through the left side and the right side, putting values in.
Okay.
There are ways to do
Yeah.
like a single value, assign that to every value. That is also a way, but that is something that is not recommended to be done.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So
I think Prem, you are done with the calculator bit. That is wonderful.
yeah.
I think that makes you the top performer. So congratulations. Aniket also very, very close. Well done. I like the approach for the both of you. Does anyone else want to show what they've made? Anyone?
Sir, I have done it.
Yes, please. Others as well, if you have any sort of, if you've done something. Nitin, Nikhil, Tejas, Rinki, TN Tarsan, Suvanjan, Tarun, Riddhi, Achintya, anyone. If you've done, you can also share your screen after Ronak goes.
So are you able to see my screen?
It is loading.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. So this is the code.
Let me see. So num1. Does work. This works. You have to add one more operation remainder, but everything else works. And the print that you've written, that is not necessary, I think, because it will automatically be printed in the input, but it works.
Okay. Sir.
I think this code works. All you have to do is write. Very well done by Priyam as well. She did what she did was she added one more operator that said all, and once you do that, all the answers are printed. The 4 values of result are printed together. So add these two, add the remainder, the percentage symbol and the remainder, and once you do that, I think you're good to go. Well done. Good approach, taking in directly the symbols. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Others as well. Does anyone else want to show what they've done? Okay, I think I have I've seen a lot of projects. I think well done, everyone. Let us meet again next week. Everyone, ensure that you've joined the WhatsApp group. Oh, I'm sorry, somebody read that. I have completed.
Yes.
Yeah, so everyone join the WhatsApp group, and also sort of please fill the feedback form so I can understand if I can improve in any manner. Others as well, if you have any, anyone, if you have any feedback, if you have any suggestions, just let me know so that I can also understand how to improve this session, sort of build this into a better session week by week by week. Riddhi Agarwal, sorry, I joined late. That is fine. I think you can take your time, but I would appreciate if in the next week, if you're coming, so you just show me what you've made, what you did in this week, and then maybe we can go ahead, because these 3 weeks were sort of the fundamentals. then from now on we will sort of be putting, like, bringing it up a level. So if you want to sort of you can sort of revisit and revise through the last few lectures. If you do not have the time to sort of go through the entire recording, just scroll through the PDF once. That would help you guys a lot, and I think that would help in general also. That would help all of you to revise and keep everything clear, right? So thank you so much. You guys can leave, and thank you so much for joining. And this is again a QR code. If somebody from your laptop going to join the group, you can sort of scan this QR code and join the WhatsApp group, right? And I hope everyone's joined the WhatsApp group, and please fill the feedback as well so that I can improve. And if anyone has any feedback, suggestions, something that he's unhappy with, he or she is unhappy with, they can turn their mics on and let me know. I will share everything in the WhatsApp group, Tarun. In the group description, we have the link to the YouTube playlist and the GitHub repository for the project, for the PDFs and everything. Thank you so much, everyone. If anyone has any feedback, they can turn their mics on. Otherwise, you guys can start leaving. And Priyam, well done. You are the top performer today, and I will be like sort of sending a message on the group for this.
So after the lecture, can I discuss a few things?
Sure.
So Aryan, I was trying out one thing.
Sure.
I'll show you.
Yes, please.
I think you're presenting currently.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you can.
So what I wanted to do was in the same print statement, I wanted to put like, so for example, this one, all result operations are, and currently it was just coming out all the results in the same line. I want right next to the add variable should be printed and so on and so forth.
In the next line.
For example, see.
Yeah.
Yeah, initially I had done this. So what it does is it will just show me the answers in a single line, but the
Correct.
user won't be able to know like which is for the
Which
ad or
which.
yeah. So how do I put that?
Correct. So what you should do here is that simply write add. You can. I'll tell you what to write. Type add here.
Yeah.
Put a colon.
Hmm.
Yeah, and after the addition, add another comma. Like you already have a comma. Just put in the quotes. Add sub.
Okay, so this will work.
You put another comma and write sub there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. Add another comma, add multiply, and like write multiply with quotes and then with the remainder. And then I'll tell you
So
what to do.
maybe I'll just type for this.
Yeah. Sure. So now these both will come in the same line. If you want in separate lines, I'll show you that as well. Yeah. So what you do is before the first add, go to the first add, the one in the quotes. Before that,
backslash n.
Yeah, put a backslash in before that add.
Before that add, okay.
Thank you for the solution, Aryan. It was my problem as well.
Wonderful. Add it here as well. Correct.
Okay.
No, you wrote 5 above. You didn't like put that in.
Okay. Again, I did the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, you can remove the space and Wonderful. So I would love to see if you've made this completely on the GitHub repository. I can sort of create another branch saying student submissions, and you guys can sort of submit there, and we can build all of that there. Right. So once you're done, just put the Python file in the group itself so that everyone else can also go through it. Download the Python notebook and send it for everyone to look at, and maybe then we can upload it somewhere as well. Right. Thank you, everyone. If everyone's done with their queries, they can start leaving. And Priyam, I've sent you a message. Kindly check that post session.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yep. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. And please fill the feedback form again. Remind you. Thank you so much, everyone who has no queries. They can start leaving. Others, you can start asking the queries. Yeah. So Achintya, you had a couple of queries. You can ask that. Oh, okay. You want to do it. Okay, it's fine. Others, you can start leaving. So Vanjan, were you able to understand today's session? Nikhil, TN Tasin, Tarun, Suvanjan. Was today's session okay? Wonderful, wonderful. I'm happy. If it's okay, then you guys can start disconnecting, I think. Hello.
So,
Yes, Achintya.
can I share my screen?
Yes, please. It is not visible.
Sir, I did not understand most of the session. I only understood the minus and plus, the multiplication, division, and all that. The A, B, C, D ones in which you put A is greater than B, B is greater than A. Those I did not understand.
Correct. So though they are primarily conditions, so all we do is compare two values if they are greater than, if A is greater than B or if A is equal to B. Right? Don't worry a lot. I will send this PDF to you. You read it once. Once you do, you will be clear with it. It should not be a problem. We've already done this in the past. Now I can see your screen. Yeah.
Yes, so session also I did not understand most of it.
Which session?